I think the thing I'm working on presently is always the favorite. And hopefully it's that way for most makers. If something you did in the past is your favorite and what you're working on now isn't, that might be a problem or a signifier of a problem. I like textiles, so I think I gravitate towards materials more specifically. So if I was to think in terms of favorites, fabric is a reoccurring thing. So when I'm working in fabric or things like that, I'm probably at my most happy. Fabric is one of these things, I think, even if you're not interested in art or you don't think you're interested in art, that everybody can relate to. Everybody probably has a quilt or a tablecloth a loved one made sometime in their past. We all wear clothes, we all sit on upholstery. It's sort of a thing of comfort, but also of shielding ourselves from the elements and each other. And those kind of, how can I put it, conceptual undercurrents, I think are a point of entry for some people because they know this. They might not know oil paint. They might not know digital art or working with a computer to create their work, but we all know fabric. It sounds a little cheesy, and a lot of artists give this response, but for me, as a creative, I don't think there was another choice. I'm very antsy. I've got a lot of energy. If my hands aren't busy, I feel kind of corrupt. I need to keep moving. So having something to do, particularly with so much of my practice being about repeated motions like the act of sewing. I also do a lot of these burned match drawings. Having that sort of physical outlet, I think, is calming. I've always loved the idea of being this kind of quiet, mindful person that would meditate and have like this second upper plane to my nature, but it's not so much the case, so I have to give myself a task to actually kind of relax or to empty my thoughts, and my practice does that for me in a big way. Not only is Goodwill sustainable financially and for communities, because it really sort of closes a circle, but the material-wise, the secondhand nature to it really fits my practice. I've been using secondhand materials since I started making work, probably in high school. Some of it was out of just financial necessity, but I also think it's a good and kind of environmental statement to be using things that people have discarded. I find shopping at Goodwill to be very much about like figurative art for me, because when I look at the materials, these things, they might not be figures in direct relationships, but the patina the materials have, worn dishes, clothing that's been used, all this stuff for me is really indicative of the human body and reminds me of people. And I like that kind of subtext in my studio practice, having an undercurrent of the figure running through all the work. That's why I'm drawn to secondhand materials, and this residency seemed like the perfect fit.